chances are that the very first email you send to new subscribers is sabotaging everything you're trying to accomplish with your email marketing. Wow, that may sound like a bold claim, but I'm going to tell you that it's true, and I'm going to make the case for it here in this video. Because look, the email that delivers a freebie that someone signs up for on your list really is the most important email that you will send. Because among other things, it's the one email that you can be pretty sure everyone is going to open and everyone's going to read. Now, not everyone, but it has the highest open rate and the highest chance of someone reading the email. So if you don't use that email wisely, you're making a big mistake. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about what the mistake is that most people make and what you should be doing instead. So let's go ahead and dive in. Welcome to this episode of Bobby Ruins Marketing, the email edition. Like I said, in this edition, we're going to talk about that first email you send a new subscriber because it's that important. But before we dive in, if you don't know me, I'm Bobby Klinck. I am an online marketer, but I'm a Harvard lawyer first and then an online marketer by practice. So I kind of quit being a lawyer and started being an online marketer. And I built a successful business that first was about selling legal templates. And now I still do that, but I also do business coaching, help people with email, help people with business strategy, and do all of those things too. And one of the things that I figured out is that you really need to be intentional about every email you send. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be overly tactical or overly strategic with every email, but there is something that you do need to be thinking about. Every email that you send to your audience is training them. It's training them either to expect you to provide value or to expect you to not provide value, to be boring, to be someone to be ignored. And so that's why it's important to be intentional about the emails you send. Because if you start the relationship off on the wrong foot and send a boring first email, which most people do, you're basically telling people, my emails are going to be boring. You can tune me out. See, this is why most people make the mistake when what most people do is they say, here's your thing. It's like hey, here's the thing you wanted to download. And that's about it. That's all they say. If you go with most email service providers, that's basically what the standard delivery email is. And that's about it. But doing that, think about that message you're sending to your people when that happens. You're kind of telling them that that's what they can expect. Instead, you need to use this opportunity to begin the process of creating a relationship with your audience. And the relationship you're trying to do is you're trying to build the know, like, and trust factor. Now, in this email, you're not really trying to let them get to know and like you too much. Now, that's the kind of benefit of it too. But this email, this first email you send, what you really want to do is establish that you're someone they should be listening to. You don't do that by bragging about yourself. You don't do that by talking about how great you are. You don't do that by giving them a bunch of credentials, although there's a little bit of that. Instead, you do this by proving to them that you are someone who understands them. And that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the specific structure here. Now, when I was first starting to kind of get into email marketing, I heard people talk about the importance of needing to send kind of a good first email. The problem was no one really gave a structure of what that meant. They didn't tell you, here are the things you're trying to do, here's a way to do it. They would just say, oh, send a good first email. And, maybe they would give like one idea that you were trying to do. And that was kind of frustrating to me. So when I looked at it, I said, okay, I'm trying to establish trust. We're trying to establish credibility here. So how would we do that? And I came up with what I call the CATCH structure, C-A-T-C-H. It's an acronym to help you remember what you're doing. There's 5 parts to it, the CATCH email structure. Let's walk through each one of those very quickly. Now, the first step is C, congratulate. This one's simple. Congratulate them on downloading the freebie. So literally something like, hey, congrats on grabbing my, and then fill in whatever they grabbed. And then you can put a link right there. That's very simple. It's straightforward. That's how you should start. That one is just kind of straightforward. You're giving them the thing they asked for, and you're making a big deal and congratulating them on doing it. The next step, though, the A, is where you really start to kind of go deeper. It's called acknowledge their frustration. What you're doing in this phase is kind of acknowledging the struggle they face that you're going to help them with. Help them believe that you understand their pain. Now there's a classic thing for those of you who are, at least kind of a bit, not the complete youngins. You might remember that when Bill Clinton was running for president, one of his big things was to say, "I feel your pain." And it is an important thing. When people believe and when people can sense that you feel their pain, that you can feel their struggles, guess what? It positions you as someone that they want to listen to. So when you're doing this, acknowledge their frustration. You're doing a couple things. One, you're setting up this kind of empathetic feeling, so they feel like you're empathetic and understand them. But also when you're able to describe their frustrations and what they're struggling with in a very coherent way that makes sense to them, guess what? They're going to say, "Wow, this person gets me." In other words, if I do it, they're going to say, "Wow, Bobby really gets me. He gets the struggle of building an online business. He knows what is causing me problems." And what happens is when people feel like we understand their struggle and understand their frustration, they naturally are going to believe that we then probably can help them with the solution. So we're establishing ourselves as a trusted guide by being able to put words around what their frustration, their pain points are. So that's the A. Then we get to the T. The T is, this tells me about you. And what it means is you're going to make a big deal of them downloading the freebie. Them downloading your freebie tells you something about them. And hint, it tells you that they're among those who are headed towards success in whatever it is you help them with. In my case, it would be building an online business, building a real business, etc. But whatever it is, like if you help people with weight loss, you're one of the fact that you downloaded this tells me you're one of the people who is on a path to success. And so this is why kind of the acknowledge the pain relates into this. If you think about it, you're acknowledging the pain, you're acknowledging the frustration, the difficulty, and then you're saying the fact that you downloaded this freebie tells me that you're one of the people who's going to be able to overcome that challenge, that frustration. So you need to be able to tie it in and explain why it is. Like for a long time with my legal stuff, like the acknowledging the struggle was talking about how there are a million sexy, fun things in business. But the reality is that the people who build businesses that last are the people who deal with not just the sexy stuff, but also the not so sexy stuff. Because building a business is not all fun and games. So that was kind of the acknowledge the pain. It was written more than that. And then I said, the fact that you downloaded my free privacy policy legal template tells me that you're among those who are bound to succeed. Because you're dealing with the not so sexy stuff. I mean, let's be honest, the legal stuff is about the least sexy stuff there is in business. So you kind of see how I tied in what they downloaded as proving to me that they were someone who was bound to succeed. So that's what the T is. This tells me about you, okay? Then after that is the C, which is a credibility boost. This is where you very quickly talk about why should they listen to you. And this is where you can add some personality. So like in my case, especially on the legal stuff, I said something like, and you found a pretty good guide to help you with the legal stuff, especially if you, and I forgot what I said, if you like, a beer brewing, lawyer who, and I talked about the fun stuff about me, like that makes pop culture references, bad dad jokes, blah, blah, blah. So I said that. And then I said, or if you like a Harvard law grad and then I put some like very quick little credibility things. So I did that so they could see my personality because I'm not someone who talks a lot about my fancy degree and all that stuff. So I wanted them to know that I am not a stuffy lawyer, but then also say, but by the way, I also have these credentials if that matters to you. So that's the C. Quick. Don't spend a lot of time here. People don't want to hear you bragging about yourself, but give them a reason to say, hey, this is someone I should trust. Then the last piece is the H, which is a hook to the next email. So if everyone is going to get the same next email, which they should, because they're either going to get a nurture sequence or a welcome sequence at this point, you should put a hook in that makes them want to read that next email. In other words, if you watched my last video, and if you haven't watched it, I did a video about kind of the structure to rule them all, basically the story-based email structure. And I talk about how the structure is hook, story, call to action. So whatever the hook is for the next email you're going to send, basically the interest thing that would be like a subject line, in this catch email, you're going to put a last line or a last section that says, in my next email, I'm going to. And so at one point, the email that I would send to people after they got my catch email was me telling a story where my wife sent me this text, why are you sending me pictures of you with random women? So the last paragraph of my catch email said, and in my next email, I'm going to tell you how I managed to stay married even after my wife texted me, why are you sending me pictures of you with random women? So I did that, and people are like, okay, I got to see what this is about. So that's the idea. It's to seed it so they will open that next email. So that's the hook. That's all that piece is. So that's your structure for a catch email. Congratulate them on taking action, acknowledge the struggle, the pain, the frustration, then talk about this tells me about you. Then we go into credibility boost, and last, the hook to the next email. That's the structure. Now, the catch email is the first of 5 emails or sequences or types of emails you're going to need to send over time to in your email marketing journey. If you want to learn about the rest, I have a completely free program, Badass Email Marketing, which is inside of BADA Online Marketing University, or BOMU as we call it. It's a 100% free, no catch, no tricks, no upsells training I have, because we give all of our training away for free. You can go in there, and the Badass Email Marketing course is one of the courses inside of it. You can get access to it. You'll learn about the other emails sequences you need, or types of emails you need. You can find that. You can sign up by heading to bobbyklinck.com/BOMU. Again, bobbyklinck.com/BOMU. And also, other than that, my other call to action is watch my video about the one kind of big shift you need to make in email marketing. It's basically saying you need to not focus on conversion, but instead focus on connection. I explain why, how to do that, etc. So make sure to check out that video too. So that's it. Talk to you later.